Hi everybody, it's Richard here again and welcome to the final installment of where I show the 10 worst songs from my 10 favourite artists. And bringing up the rear, but he's actually fourth on my all-time list, is Lowe, and I found this extremely difficult because there's really only 2 songs on this list that I don't actually like, and the rest of them are okay. So to get 10 was a bit of a struggle for me, but I will go through them. So at number 10, and it is from 1984, and it's the song LAFS, and it's the last song on his Cowboy Outfit album, and it was produced in part by Elvis Costello. And it's not a bad song. I just think it's quite actually a soulful song. But I just think whenever you have LAFS, Love at First Sight, it's maybe just a little bit weak, and it was a single. It did absolutely nothing. But this album as a whole is really good. Incidentally though, it was the second last song on the American version. All the same songs but in a completely different order. So at number 10 for me is LAFS, Love at First Sight. At number 9, and we have from Labour of Lust. What an album, and it's the song You Make Me, and it's less than 2 minutes long. It's really slow, it's just him and the acoustic guitar. You can hardly hear what he's singing. It's not bad, and it wouldn't have got on this list if this is the only time he ever did that, but he did 2 other songs which are very similar. One is called Endless Sleep, which is better, and it was on the Bowie EP from 1977, and the other one is Basing Street, which is from around the same sessions, and it was the B-side of Crackin' Up. Both those songs I think are better than You Make Me. It's okay, but it's just nothing special at all, and I think they should have just left it off the album. It's only 2 minutes long or less than, so I wouldn't have had it on, but still it's not bad, but it's my number 9. And at number 8 we have from Dig My Mood in 1998, and it is You Inspire Me. Now the reason why this gets on the list is because it's a slow jazzy number which I've never been that keen on, although I do actually like it a lot more than I used to when I was playing this, and I feel a bit guilty putting it on the list, but still it's not one of my favourites, and it was a single. There was a CD single with about 3 live tracks which I bought, and I love the live tracks. Incidentally, no live tracks are being counted in this, nor is there any Brinsley Schwarz, nor anything that comes under the name Rockpile, which if there had been I would have put a Pet You and Hold You on it, but I'm not counting them. But You Inspire Me, it's okay, and I think he plays it live an awful lot, but for me it's never been a favourite. Okay, at number 7, and we have from Nick the Knife in 1982, and it's the last track, Zulu Kiss, which again, it's not a bad track, but he's done better, and I think it's actually a little bit weak compared to the rest of the album. There's plenty of drums in it which makes it lifts it a little bit, but lyrically it's nothing special, and it gets my number 7. Okay, at number 6, and we go to the At My Age album from 2007, and it's the track The Other Side of the Coin, and it's a brilliant album. And the reason this one gets on is because it is You Inspire Me Part 2. It's another one of those very sleepy jazzy numbers with upright bass, and it goes at snail's pace. Again, it's not that bad, and if you're in the mood for it, it's very good, but I'm very rarely in the mood for that sort of music. But it's nice to have 1 or 2 songs like that in his catalogue. He did do a few, but to me it's You Inspire Me and The Other Side of the Coin are the 2 that get on this list, but still not bad at all. Number 6. And number 5, and we go to the Abominable Showman album. A lot of people think it's Snowman, but it's not, it's Showman. And it's the lyrics in this one, and it's Time Wins All Heals. See what he did there? Time heals all wounds, but time wins all heals, especially if you're wearing shoes that are 2 sizes too small. But yeah, it's okay. It's got a bit of a sort of a soulful sound to it, but it's a little bit silly. So it is. I know there's a couple off here that are silly as well, like Tanqueray, but I actually enjoyed it a lot more. And Time Wins All Hails for me, it is fine, but it's gets in my worst 10. That's what I'm trying to say, is that these Nick Lowe songs are brilliant, and that's why he is up there in my top 4 of all time. Okay, at number 4, and we are now getting into the 4 songs that I'm just not keen on at all. And we go back to Labour of Lust again, and it's the last track on side 2, and it's Love So Fine, and this is like a 12-bar blues song. Something maybe that Status Quo would have done, but not as well as Status Quo. And this one has a full writing credit to all the Rockbile people, so it's Nick Lowe, Dave Edmunds, Billy Bremner and Terry Williams. And they obviously played it quite a bit live whenever they were touring from the late 70s to about, I think 1980 was the last year they toured. But yeah, it's not my favourite. And to have 2 songs on this list from this album, and this is an absolute cracking album, it just shows how good the rest of the songs were. But I've never been keen on Love So Fine, so it gets number 4. And at number 3, we have from my favourite Nick Lowe album, Pinker and Prouder Than Previous. I think I'm the only person in the world that puts this as my favourite. And it's the track Lover's Jamboree, which is a Nick Lowe and Paul Carrick song. And it's produced by Dave Edmunds, so you think it's going to work really well. But no, it doesn't. It actually shows the way of what the next album would be like, which is my least favourite Nick Lowe album, which I'll come to shortly. But Lover's Jamboree, it was the single. It tries to be catchy, but I don't think it's that great. The rest of the songs off this are brilliant, but Lover's Jamboree's never done it for me, and that's my number 3. And at number 2 comes from the next album, and it's from the Party of One album, and it's the song Sting Stang. And it's just a silly song which goes sting stang sting stang, and it's almost in a almost rockabilly type feel. And this whole album was produced by Dave Edmunds, and I think it's slightly overproduced as well. A huge Dave Edmunds fan, but I think he went overboard. There's a couple of other songs which are very similar to this, but I didn't want to put them in this list because they're too similar. One is Refrigerator White and Honeygun, which sound very similar, but Sting Stang I just think silly, and it's the one that gets my number 2. Which means my least favourite Nick Lowe song is actually from the Jesus of Cool album, or in America they would call it the Pure Pop for Now People, but in fact it wasn't on it, but I'll explain that. And it's the track called Shake and Pop, and again it's one of these almost new wave rockery type, rock and roll type sounds to it, which I do not think is very good at all. Now they did play this live quite a bit, but they changed the words, and they changed it to They Called It Rock. It then became a B-side of I Love the Sound of Breaking Glass, and ultimately got on the Pure Pop for Now People album in America. Now I can't include it because it's a live version, but I actually prefer Shake and Pop to They Called It Rock, but it still gets on because it is quite weak. It starts off quite well, but then it's one song I've never liked off this album, and it's a pity it was on. I would have preferred if they were going to take another track from the Bowie EP and they'd put Born a Woman on, or even I Don't Want the Night to End, the B-side of Halfway to Paradise. It would be much better because Mary Provis is on this, and it was one of the EP songs. Or even the Endless Sleep, which is better than You Make Me. But Shake and Pop is my least favourite. Actually, as They Called It Rock, but they're the same song. But I have to give it this because it's a studio version. Okay, so that's my rundown of the 10 Nick Lowe songs that I think are his worst. And as I said in the intro, I think a lot of them are actually quite good, and it was one of the most difficult ones I had to do yet. I would also like to thank everybody that watched this series. There's a couple of videos, especially The Jam, Simon & Garfunkel and ABBA, that got really high views for my channel anyway. Maybe it was the YouTube algorithm, but a big thank you to everybody that watched and commented, and now I have to think of another little series to do. So until then, that's me for now. All the best now. Bye bye.